Welcome to Surviving Roots, the podcast where we navigate the messy, beautiful work of healing and growth. I'm your host, Cari Fund, and this is your space to breathe, reflect, and find strength. Whether you're breaking free from old patterns, healing from loss, or rebuilding your story one small step at a time, you're in the right place. So take a deep breath, give yourself this time, and let's uncover the tools to move forward with courage. This podcast is for you. Today, I am so excited to welcome Michelle Garside to Surviving Roots. Michelle is the co-founder of Soul Camp Creative, a sacred strategy house that helps purpose-driven people and organizations bring their most authentic stories into the world. She's created transformative spaces like Soul Camp, the Enchantment Experience, and the Connecticut Women's Club. But what strikes me the most about Michelle is her radical truth-telling. She's shared openly about her recovery journey through addiction, bulimia, and alcoholism, and how embracing shame has actually been her doorway to power, self-expression, and thriving. Her debut book, Not Awakened, comes out in 2026 and is already a conversation starter about what it really means to stop hiding, to stop performing, and to claim your wholeness. Welcome, Michelle. I've been looking forward to this.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited for this conversation.
I'm so excited. We've actually chatted before. We have some mutual friends that introduced us, and I remember just chatting with you. I just felt so connected, and it was a little not eerie, but we have so many similarities with our traumas and our past.
We have similar trom.coms. We do.
I mean, and it really just goes to show me that we're really not alone in our stories. They really do truly connect us.
Yes. And truly what I have found and what my whole life is really has become is that it's talking about the darker times that connects us so much more so to one another and to ourselves. And so of course that shared messiness is what brought us together. I love it.
I love it too. Well, I just want to dive right in. Let's just go for it. Let's just go in.
Let's do it.
So when you look back at your roots, like with your family or early in your career, or even like those first stories of who you were, is there a moment or moments that still whisper to you today?
Oh my gosh. Well, oosh.
Because I still hear the whispers.
Oosh. You know, from my earliest memories, the biggest feeling that I had was that I don't belong here, right? That all of these other girls know what they're doing as far as what they're wearing, what they're bringing to school for lunch, what they're carrying their water bottles, what their water bottles look like. And I never really got the memo. I was always kind of like trying to learn a few steps behind on what to wear, how to act, how to, be a human. And so my earliest whispers have always been, you don't belong here, you don't fit in, this isn't the box for you. And I desperately tried. I spent, truly the first 30 plus years of my life desperately trying to fit into boxes that I didn't necessarily belong in, because I thought that it was wrong that I didn't belong, and that it was on me to make myself fit in. So I think the whispers have always been about belonging, and that's always been just such a key theme of my life. What does it mean to belong? Why do we feel like we don't belong? What is that root of not belonging? What is that root of disconnection and loneliness? And how can I help others feel like they truly belong?
Wow, that's really powerful. Speaking of roots, like where do you think that came from for you? I mean, so many of us can relate to what you're saying. I know people listening, even if we came from different backgrounds and different everything, like so many of us share what you just shared. Like, where do you think that stems from? Where does that come from?
Well, I have a really woo-woo spiritual answer for this. So I'm gonna go there, because what I really think, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, is that the moment, again, prepare yourself. This is gonna go there.
God, I'm getting nervous. Okay.
Okay. But my belief is that we all come from the same thing. We all come from an energy, whatever you call that, God, universe, spirit, divine, whatever that is. And when we're born, we separate from that energy and we come into these bodies to learn and to live and to share. And it's in that moment of separation that we're all given that root of loneliness.
Mm.
Because before then we were part of all of it. We knew, not because I believe we still are part of all of it, but we knew there was no, we're in this body separate from, we were just part of. And I think that that moment of disconnection from God, divine, universe, whatever you want to call it, plants seeds of loneliness inside of us. So I think that we all have that seed of deep, deep loneliness. And for some, the circumstances of their life make it so they don't necessarily have to dwell there as much as others. But for others, like me, I really have been like, wait, why am I lonely even when I'm surrounded by people? Why am I
Mhm.
lonely even when I'm literally in bed with my kids and my husband? Like,
Mhm.
what is that loneliness that food can't fill, or that drugs can't fill, or that alcohol can't fill, or that, fill in the blank can't fill? Success, Facebook likes. And what I've really come to, it's been that disconnection from God for me. Um,
Mhm.
that's what I believe that loneliness is.
Wow. That's that sort of gave me a little punch in my heart. Also, not only for just myself, and I can relate to that, but just as a mother, now I'm thinking about like that's something that's really not, I'm not able to control or to
Totally.
instill in my kids. So how does that affect, I'm sidetracking for a second, but just
Yeah, no.
as a parent, how does that affect or influence your mothering, like knowing that?
Yeah, well, I make sure that the kids, the way that I mother is like that they're surrounded all the time by,
Mhm.
one of my dear friends, Patricia Moreno, for instance, who was the founder of Intensati, and an amazing mentor figure in my life. She passed away very tragically, and we talk about her all the time. And so, like when the lights flicker, my kids are like, "Oh, Patricia, what's
Oh.
up?" Like it's just like a very normal thing for us to feel that and to talk about that we're just not alone. Like, here's grandma in the dandelion. Like we're just very much like we're all connected. You're
Yeah.
always connected, even when Patricia passes, or even when, great grandma has passed. Like they're still here because we're always connected. So I don't go there truly of like, we are all one, oneness, consciousness.
Mhm.
Like I don't talk that way with
Yeah.
them. Yes, they're 7 and 3, and they
I
would,
get it.
um, but I am very much like, they're, my 3-year-old will be like, oh my gosh, the lights flickered. And like, Patricia was, it's just like part of,
Yeah.
um, and so I think that's a way that I, of course I like devour them with love, and like I'm so super aware of them feeling always connected to me and to their dad even when we're separated. And but yeah, I think that it's not it, and that's why I think so many parents can blame themselves down the line of like, oh, addiction and their kids and things.
Mhm.
And it's, what we learn in 12-step recovery. It's a hole that cannot be filled
Yeah.
by a parent or by a substance or by a thing. It's a hole that's a spiritual hole. And so, yeah, I think that just at this early age, um, I try to reinforce the idea that there's more than just this.
Yeah.
There's more than just mommy, daddy, your friends. And when you feel sad, are you able to sit with that sadness? Are you able to talk to that sadness? Ask that sadness, what do you need? Like, do you want a hug from mom? Do you want to watch YouTube? Like, well, am I
Yeah.
bored? So like I'm very much like all feelings are welcome. Um, we're given all of these feelings: happiness, sadness, anger, rage, not to just feel the happiness.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm truly still learning
Yeah.
and practicing. I'm able to
Yeah.
say it here, and but truly that's a big learning for me, is feeling comfortable with anger in myself and in
Mhm.
others. But I try to reinforce the idea for my kids that, like, it's okay to be angry,
Yeah.
and it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to, feel all of these things. You don't just have to be joyful. But talk to it. Don't try
Yeah.
to numb it or stuff it. Talk to it, see what it needs.
Yeah.
So that's listen, I'm doing motherhood really messy and messing up along the way. I can't wait to hear the
But it's
stories of my
real.
that my kids will tell someday. But they know that they're loved, and that's one thing that I can say, that they know that they're loved, and they know how to get in touch with a feeling of love even when I'm not there.
Listen, I just love everything you just said because one, I still have chills from the fact that you said a spiritual whole. That's something that is resonating me with right now, and something I'm honestly going to carry moving forward, just to think about as I navigate my motherhood and just watch and observe my children and their feelings. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's important that even as adults, like I'm learning that you have to feel all your feelings. You can't just be happy all the time. And motherhood is messy because when it's not messy, like I grew up in a household that was very all about perfectionism. So when things seem and look too perfect, that's a big effing red flag.
Totally.
So
Totally.
messy is beautiful. Messy means you're present and you're just, you're in it. And that I think that's great.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
just by listening to everything you just said, I understand now the naming, I think, of Soul Camp. Let's talk about this. So you went
Yeah.
from global pharmaceutical branding to creating Soul Camp retreats and now like this entire creative house. What was your wake up call if there was just one that said, I need a more soul centered path?
Yeah. Well, thank God for rock bottoms, because for me, it's been only the loudest, hardest, dirtiest, most horrifying moments of my life that get me to wake up and change.
Yeah.
So even now, when I find myself in like a real rock bottom with my husband, with fight, whatever it is, I'm like, all right, like being called to really fucking change.
Yeah.
And so I'm aware of it now. But back then it was I'll name the time. It was 2011, and I had just broken up with my boyfriend. He moved out of our apartment. And at the time, I was drinking so much, doing cocaine. I was very successful because I'm very smart. So I was very successful in my career. But like I lived for the weekends. I lived for the 3-day weekend, the happy hour. Like I didn't love my job. I didn't love what I was doing. I was just really, really good at it. And when my boyfriend moved out of our apartment, it was a rock bottom for me, because I literally was like, I don't know who I am if I'm not in partnership with this person. He had become so much of my life and so much of my identity. There was no Michelle who likes
Yeah.
to do this and this outside of that.
Yeah.
And so when he moved out, it was a real bottom for me. And I went to a retreat at Omega Institute, which is just such a full circle moment for me, which I'll talk about. But I went to this retreat in upstate New York. And I met this woman, Patricia Moreno, and there was this group of women who were like living their life out loud. I remember it was like they worked out of Starbucks, and they went to like these intensati classes during the day, and they drank green juice, and they shopped at Whole Foods, and they like loved their life. And I was like, you are aliens. Like, what is
Yeah.
this? I am surrounded by aliens. I had never seen such a thing. I had never seen women my own age who were just like so lit up by every area of their life, not just their relationship or not just being skinny or whatever. It was like, no, I love my life. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, what is this? And it woke me up to a whole new way of being. And I left Omega Institute and I started living life as if I was in Omega. So I started shopping at Whole Foods. I started listening to the music we listened to during the retreat, all of the
Yeah.
things. And slowly but surely, the version of myself that was going into my big pharma strategic marketing and branding agency was so disparate than the version of me outside of it. It was like I had to become one version of Michelle to zip up and go into that office. Um, and then the day came, I was no longer willing to have two Michelles. And I remember it really, really clearly. I was like, I can no longer have the version of me that's like yelling mantras in the air and like, and then the version of me who goes into the office and everyone's like talking shit about the client. Like
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
And very dramatically, I burnt it all to the ground. It was the days of eat, pray, love. And I sold my apartment. I quit my career. I went off to India. Um, and I came back and I was like, I want to do what I was doing for Pfizer and Novo Nordisk. I want to do it for Patricia Moreno. That's literally
Yeah.
how it started. And so one by one, Patricia was like, well, I can't pay you, but I'll announce you at all of my Equinox classes that you're doing branding and for transformational speakers and teachers. And then one by one, my business grew and built. But I got really, really clear, like, I want to live in the world of these people who are trying to better themselves and who are wanting to live a beautiful life, not just aesthetically, but truly from the inside out, and who felt lit up by life and who were able. And I wanted my life to become that. And so I
Yeah.
declared it. I mean, it really started with a declaration. I sent out an email to everyone I know saying, I'm quitting my job. I am going to work in the world of wellness. Here's everything I can do, right? Like brand strategy, Pfizer, accolade. But now I want to do it for speakers, teachers, authors.
Yeah.
Do you know anyone? And that's how it started back in 2011. And that was 14 years ago now. But that was really, it started with the declaration of like, I no longer can have two versions of me. The version of me that is like lit up by life, and then the version of me that's spent 8 hours a day in an office. Like there can't be these two separate versions anymore. I have to be one Michelle.
That is so important. I'm also freaking out right now. First, okay, so this is everything that you just said. Everyone that's listening, we become the choices that we make, and Michelle is the prime example of what that means. Also, the moment we decide that we are worthy and take action, like our life can completely change, like in just a matter of simple shifts and choices. And this is a beautiful example, and also crazy that I'm just now finally meeting you in life, because I didn't know Patricia passed away. I used to take her classes in 2010, 2011. I was at my rock bottom during that time, 2009, 2010. I went to juice retreats. I took her classes. I started going to like the Gabby Bernsteins when she was speaking in cafes of 10 people, and her book was just about to come out, the Universe book.
Yes.
Um, and I would go to all of those things, but unlike you, I didn't think I was worthy of that change yet. So I kept in my ways for a couple of more years until I ended up meeting someone, which is now my husband. But it took me for someone, like I had to see myself through someone else's eyes, like, wow, I am not cold. I am lovable. I am worthy of the life that I dream of. I am worthy of the woman that I want to be. But I just can't believe I never crossed paths with you, or maybe
I
we
mean, I'm
didn't.
sure we did. I
It
was
was
I'm telling you, I made it my life. Is 2011, 2012, 2013. I was at every class. I was
That's
there. I'm
crazy.
sure.
I'm
But
looking at, I'm like thinking of the group in my head. It was like Patricia, there was like Gabby, there was Maria Farella. There's like all these women during that time when
the
I was living
OGs,
there that
Danielle
I'm like,
Laporte,
Chris Carr. I'm like,
Christina,
wow, look at all these women shopping at Whole Foods and drinking green juice. Like I so
totally.
wanted to be them, but I did not take action. And I, I've learned to forgive myself that it took me a while to sort of, realize that I was worthy of all this change. But, that just goes to show everyone listening that you can have two people sort of experiencing the same thing, but one took action and one didn't until later in life. But it just shows you the power of our choices. We really do become the choices that we make.
Absolutely. And the words that we say after I like you were just saying, I am worthy, I am this. I mean, those define our life. So I'm
Yeah.
so aware. Like I say all the time, like I'm successful, like I'm really smart. Like I declare it all the time.
Yeah.
Um because I know that the words that we use shape our reality, right? There was a Sufi poet that said, Hafiz, and he said, the words that we speak become the walls of the house that we live in. And it's like,
Beautiful.
what's my house look like? And
Yeah.
so I am like so aware. And intensati is such a practice that teaches us those, I am strong, I am powerful, I am this. And it changed my like truly it changed the way that I was speaking to myself. I didn't even realize that I was walking around Manhattan being like, I am fat, like I am,
Yeah.
alone. And
Yeah.
it wasn't until I was like, I am a creative genius, that I was like, oh my God, what words was I saying?
Yeah.
And that really did change everything.
Yeah, it's so true. I can just picture like all of those New Yorkers when I moved to New York. I was like, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And I'm thinking, I can't be the only one in the street saying, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not successful enough, I'm not here yet, I'm not there yet. Like, I think all of those people, I can actually picture myself walking up Park Avenue to go into my office every day, just herds of
Oh,
people. And it's like, I can just imagine what everyone's thoughts truly are in that city sometimes.
yep, yep, yep,
Especially when
yep.
you first arrive, and I don't know, it really is the words. Well, speaking of words, like you've openly shared about your recovery journey, alcohol, bulimia, addiction. I can totally relate to you with bulimia. We've actually even talked about that during our first chat.
Yes.
When you finally said those words out loud and you finally sort of told the truth of the Michelle that you were before the Omega, and sort of shifting and changing your life, how did it feel? Like, did it change your behaviors, and did it fuel your healing just saying those things out loud?
I really grew up in 12-step recovery. So
Okay.
I was bulimic. I started with eating disorders in ninth grade. And so it was a while, right? And like
Yeah.
in and out of hospitals, and it was bad. It was really bad. And so 12-step recovery really taught me and showed me what it looked like to be honest in the mess. So not, being in those church basements and being in these rooms, it wasn't just people in that were recovered and talking. There were some of those, but mostly, and especially the way that I showed up in those rooms for 15 years was, I threw up again last night, or I'm going to leave this meeting and I'm going to go to the supermarket. Like, I can't stop eating. Like, I haven't eaten, whatever it is, like
Mhm.
showing up in the mess, not after the fact, not
Yeah.
here are my reflections looking back, like, but I'm here now.
Yeah.
And it was the most powerful thing because so many teachers, speakers, thought leaders, influencers, whatever out there, lay people only speak after the fact of like, I went
Mhm.
through this and here's what I learned, or I
Mhm.
went through this and now, and there was no one who was like, I'm in this
Yeah.
now. Actually, I take that back. Glennon Doyle recently was like, I am anorexic and I'm really just figuring it out. And so,
Yeah.
and it was so powerful because it's so rare to hear in the moment, I'm
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Because so many people feel like they need to have it all figured out and have the shiny gloss before they're able to say it out loud.
Yeah.
But 12-step recovery really showed me otherwise, the power of saying it out loud in the mess. So that was something that I was comfortable with. And I remember I even, when I met Eric, the man that's now my husband, I was
Mhm.
like, I want to let you know, like, I do this weird thing with food. It's no big deal. Like, you might not hear from me for a few days. Like, don't worry, I'm fine. Like, I just turn off my phone. And he was like, what? Like, it was like it was so just like, yeah, this is what I do. Like, it was so normalized in a way, in a weird way, maybe for me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, like, I shut off for a while and then, I do this thing, but like, it's not a big deal. And he was like, no, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And he was the one. And that's why when you said, I had to hear it through someone else's voice, someone else's eyes, that was my story with bulimia,
Oh my
which was,
gosh.
yeah, it was Eric who was like, you've had this eating disorder for 15 years. Like, you're an old timer. Old timers die. Like, he said it very just like naively and matter of factly. And he's
Yeah.
like, I really like you, but like, I don't think I can do this like with you if you're not like getting better. Like, I
Yeah.
can't just like be okay with you maybe not answering my call because you're dead around the toilet bowl. That's what
Yeah.
he said. And I was literally, Cari, for the first time, I was like, oh, maybe this is serious. Like,
Oh my
literally, I was
God.
ooh, me. And I had been in rehab. I had been in
Yeah.
hospital. Truly, for like the first time, I was like, oh, maybe I could die. Like, it was like,
Yeah.
and for the first time, I felt like I had these two paths in front of me. It was like, continue on dating this guy. And it wasn't like serious at the time, but I liked him. It was like dating this guy
Mhm.
and seeing where that went, or literally choosing the food. like
Yeah.
literally saying, okay, I'm going to choose my food instead.
Yeah.
And the next day, I went back to the LGBT Center on 13th Street in New York City, and I went to an OA meeting, Overeaters Anonymous, and I raised my hand and I said, you guys have seen me in this room for years,
Mhm.
and I've never actually worked the program. It's been really comfortable for me just to be like, me too. I'm
Yeah.
also, um, but I need to work the program, and I need to like get a sponsor, and I need to do the nutrition. Like I need to do the things. I need to work
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I never threw up again. That was it. That was the moment. And Eric became my husband, the father of my children, all the things. And listen, it's not perfect by any means. It's very messy, but it was that choice of I'm going to choose this path with this person who maybe sees me differently than I see myself. And I'm going to choose that instead of me alone with Bravo and seamlessweb.com.
Yeah.
And
Go
yeah, and
Eric.
yeah, go Eric. I mean, yes, it's a good reminder for me right now
Yeah.
that happened. But yes, but that really was it. Was and so I had shame about that for a little. That it wasn't like on my own accord. That it wasn't like this wake up call from God. Like it was a guy, right?
Yeah.
But what I heard in talking about that was like, yeah, sometimes God comes through guys. And I was
You know
like,
what? You just gave me chills. That needs to be on a t-shirt. I Seriously, our similarities are just crazy. First of all, congratulations to you for making the best choice.
yeah, yes,
And I have an Eric. His name is Rodney. And I remember being on a podcast a couple months ago, or maybe it was like last year, and someone said something, "Well, what really made you change?" And I almost felt shamed at saying that it was a man that inspired me and not myself. But the thing is, I didn't, what you said was very witty, and I love it that God comes through guys. But I think God just knew that I was never going to choose myself, that I needed, whether it was a dog or a man or a best friend, I needed somebody to sort of stand in front of me and like be my mirror so I could truly see myself through the real lens, not my lens, because I was so broken and everything was so distorted the way I saw myself,
yes,
but just to truly be able to get a glimpse of who I was and who I could be. So honestly, I've learned to let go of that shame. I'm just thankful that I didn't miss that opportunity, or that you didn't not choose Eric or miss Eric, or that, Eric and Rodney actually are great men to where like they didn't say like, see ya,
yeah.
this isn't for
Bye,
me.
crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, but God does come through guys sometimes, and that's okay.
Guys sometimes come through guys. It's true. But yeah, it was Eric that really led that decision. And it wasn't until a few years later that I stopped drinking and I got sober. But uh that took that had a more of a grasp on
Yeah.
me. But yeah, that was and then ever since then, I'm like very loud and open about it. I really believe I have no shame around
Yeah.
it at all. So I speak really, almost jarringly, I think, especially like I live in Connecticut, and like I joined like the mom's book club. And like, I think that the way that I can speak is like very affronting sometimes. And I'm okay with that too. And I really get like, I'm not for everyone. And some people, many people might be really turned off by me. But if there's some person who's like, oh, wait, I'm doing that with
Yeah.
food. That's all that I care about. Like if that person says, oh, can we talk more about this? Because like, I think that's why I am who I am. I want to be a permission slip for other people to be like, oh, maybe I'm not so fucked up. Like if
Yeah.
she's just talking so openly, maybe I can share with someone, with a
Yeah.
therapist, with someone, right? So that's why I put it right there on my website. I'm loud and proud about it, in hopes of
Well,
helping others.
I think everything that you're doing is truly inspiring. And talk about not just talking with words, but writing with words. Congratulations. Your debut book, Not Awaken, is coming out in 2026.
Yes.
I want to know everything about it. What's the title? How did you come up with the title? And what
Yes.
does this book mean to you? And what do you want the readers to take from it?
I'm so excited. So the book is called Not Awakened, and it is a declaration of my humanness. It is a declaration. I work so much in the space of people who are talking about enlightenment and awakening, and my belief is like, we're human this time around. We're in these bodies. Maybe we're not meant to be bliss on a mountain. Maybe we're meant to be messy and learn and trudge along the way. And so the book is that permission slip. I wanted it to feel like a 12-step. I wanted it to feel like OA or AA,
Yeah.
where I share my stories first about marriage, motherhood, money, food, family dynamics, my parent, family, the childhood I grew up in, like all of the different things. Of like, hey, here's the most disgusting, humiliating thing that I went through or that I'm going through or that happened to me. And that's how I open every single chapter. So every chapter really opens with like my own personal shame story, if you will, the most shameful thing that I've done around money or around food or around men or around and or around entrepreneurship or friendship, like you name it.
Yeah.
And so I lead with that, and then it's really what it has morphed into is a self-help personal development book. This first one, helping people eradicate shame in those areas in their own life. So there's stories and there's there's exercises, and I start everyone with my own personal essay, and I'm very personal throughout. But yeah, the book came through one of the most humiliating moments of my life, where I was in India for a second time. And at that point, I had already done, brand strategy for Gabby and for Marianne Williamson and for the Open Center. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am awakened. Like I literally was like, I am the awakened one. Here I am. Like I walked around like the campus in India, thinking to myself, I am free of thought, right? Like as she thought. And it was like a 2-month intensive, to, at the end of it, to be deemed awakened. And it was prayer, and it was a very intensive program. And I made it very, very clear early on to the monks, yes, I'm all in here. And also I run a branding and marketing company that works with Hay House and all these things. So if the Oneness University, that's literally what the educational program was called, if the Oneness University needs help with their marketing. So literally I got myself to the point where after prayer every day, I would go into the main office and teach the monks how to use hashtags. It was like when hashtags had just
Oh
started.
my God, I love this.
How to use hashtags and like how to bring. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be the most awakened person here. They would never want me to come in and help with their marketing if I'm not awakened. Like I am going to be. And at the end of the intensive, there was a huge graduation ceremony, and there was only like 12 or 15 people from America. There was a lot from different countries all over. And it was a graduation ceremony, and one by one, the countries were called up and people were called down, and you went down a center line and you got your certificate and everyone cheered. It was like a whole thing. And they called my name and I stood up and they yelled, Michelle Goldblum, not awakened. And like the crowd went silent. And I was the only one in America deemed not awakened. And I was like one of maybe 5, 6 in the whole entire thing that was deemed not awakened. And it was the most spiritually devastating thing that had happened. And simultaneously, I knew in the moment, because it was so loud, it was so wild, like it was so crazy. Like there were like all these people from Korea that was coming up, like wanting to take selfies. 1, 2, 3, awakened. Like it was like, and then they would be like, oh, like not take a photo with me. It was like the most
Oh my God.
unbelievable, out of body, like out of a movie. Like it was like so insane. The way that the graduation was
Give
set
you a
up.
heads up.
No heads up. And so I literally viscerally remember like standing up, like making eyes with Doug. That was the American monk. Doug, like being like, all right, here I come, the most awakened one, who had just spent the last weeks teaching hashtags and Instagram to the monks in the office. And then I was deemed not awakened. And it woke me up. It woke me up. I needed it. I needed that fully. I needed that uh, spiritual bubble popped.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the best things. It was the most horrible and mortifying and humiliating. But truly, in the moment, I knew, oh my God, this is going to be like a story of my life. Like,
Yeah.
this is going to be a story that I tell. Like, I knew it.
Yeah.
And so, like, I was holding the mortification, the humiliation, along with, this is so important. Like, this is going to be something. And this was so many years ago. But years later, I wrote an essay about the experience. I'll send it to you. I wrote an
I
essay
would love
about
to read it.
being not awakened. And that essay is what turned into the book. So it was, that's how it all started. But it was
I
declaring.
can't wait to read this book. And the title is like makes so much like the meaning behind the title. I mean, I cannot wait to read this book. It comes out in 2026.
It's actually coming out. They pushed it, so I don't want to say it, but they're pushing it. It's going to be January 2027. They want to market it as the anti New You, New Year, New You book, because
Love it.
it's not about like claim your worth, or it's about like
Yeah.
own all of yourself, like
Yeah.
own the disgusting, own the horrific, own the parts of you that judge others. Like don't try to bypass it or stuff it, or own it fully. That's the only way that we're going to finally feel free.
Yeah. It's the anti-guru. Like yeah, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Oh my gosh. Not Awakened. We can't wait. That's going to be amazing.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And what I will say, Cari, is I declared early on, I was like, this book is going to be, I want to sell. Once I knew I was going to try to sell it traditionally, I was like, this is going to be a top 5 publisher. I'm only going to sell to a top 5. And literally after months and months of rejections,
Mm-hmm.
people would be like, are you sure you don't want to self-publish? Are you sure you don't want to like put it out as like an ebook first? And I was like, no, I'm really clear. Like it's going to be a top 5. And then people would be like, why? Why does it? And I'm like, only for my ego. Like it's
Yeah.
only because I want to say it's
Yeah.
Simon or whatever. Like that's,
Yeah.
and I was so clear about it, and I had no shame about it. I was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's the reason. Like
Yeah.
otherwise, I don't want to publish with anyone else. Like
Yeah.
I want to feel cool and special.
Yeah.
And that's what would make me feel cool and special. And I was so clear, and there was nothing. And I'm telling you, the universe fucking realigned itself. Like
Yeah.
an editor who worked at Sounds True, left her job, moved to New York City,
Yeah.
moved to Hachette, it was like the craziest, but it was the power of being so clear. I was
Yeah.
like, without shame and
Yeah.
not pretending, because no, it was like
Yeah.
truly just because I want to feel cool. That's it.
Yeah.
And I really believe once like once that funnel is like so clear and like,
Yeah.
it's just like the universe can realign itself.
That's really badass of you for just saying that out loud. I mean, it really is. Like, it just is.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
You're very cool.
You're cool too.
No, I mean, honestly, people ask me like about my journey and things like that. And it's just like, I need the validation because my mother, everyone always in like my entire childhood and womanhood has been invalidated by people that will never truly love me. And I know I've done the work myself, but I still need an outside validation to tell me that this was real. And also, I think a lot of people can find their own journeys with things, whether it's self-publishing or hybrid or traditional. But also like, I feel like my entire life I've had to do things alone, even like raise myself. Like I don't want to do everything anymore. I want help, and it's okay to ask for help and want the help and not be ashamed that you need it. So good for you for just saying it out loud because I totally get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, but Not Awakened, check out, it's notawakened.com, and people can see about the book, and like you can download, I think, like my essays. There's something there, I forget. But that's the work that I do carry now with people, which is like really like that one of the most humiliating stories of my life became the reason I have a book deal. So
Yeah.
like I help people really reframe, the stories that they might not be telling, or the stories that they might be hiding, or the stories that they might be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I am who I am, despite despite this. And it's like, no, no, no,
No.
because of
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
because of this. So, yeah, that's all on notawaken.com.
I love it. Notawaken.com. And you are a beautiful example of not allowing pain to push you down, but literally turn it into power or just push it towards your potential. I mean, honestly, you've used it. I do want to mention Soul Camp. Can you tell us a little bit about Soul Camp? Because you're more than just this book. You've been doing Soul Camp for a while. What do you want people to know about Soul Camp? And is it a summer thing?
So our next soul camp, so a huge part of all that I do is community driven. So I am gathering women in Connecticut for the Connecticut Women's Club always. So if you're in Connecticut, look up ConnecticutWomen'sClub.com. And then for Soul Camp, we started with these huge sleepaway camps for adults. That was the
Sounds
start in
amazing.
2013. It was amazing. 350 people, 4 days, 4 nights. Like we
Wow.
did it all over the place. And it was incredible. And what that has now become, and I think it's more than anything, now we're in our 40s, like we're no longer, we no longer necessarily want to sleep like in sleeping, we want a more elevated experience. What it's become is these bucket list experiences for women around the world. So last year we took 16 women to Tuscany, and
Wow.
yeah, and next year we're going to Greece, and we already sold out our first week. We're adding another week, which is so crazy. Like I'm going to be in Greece for literally 3 weeks. It's insane.
That's amazing.
But we do these trips around the world for women, and that really started in during COVID. It was like, oh wow, the world can end on a dime. Like
Mm-hmm.
the world
Yeah.
can stop so quickly. We shouldn't wait anymore. Like there's like no
Yeah.
more wait. I'm going to wait till I'm skinny to do this thing, or I'm going to wait till I'm retired to do this thing, or I'm going to wait to, it's like, no, 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 let's just do it all now. Cause like
Yeah.
a global pandemic can come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, let's create these like, where in the world would we want to go? So anyway, Soul Camp has become these amazing trips, and there's energy work, and there's movement, there's intensati, there's Diksha, which is what I learned in India. Ali does her Tibetan bowls, and our next one is in Greece. We don't even have a website up about it yet, but I'll be announcing all about it once we are adding the second week, because we sold out the first week just word of mouth so
Oh
far.
my gosh. I need you to let me know, because I have to tell you, like, adults sleepaway camp sounds amazing.
Amazing. And it's getting in touch with play, and it's getting in touch with joy, and it's getting in touch with, the parts of ourselves that maybe we said, oh, that was for then, or that was for when I was younger, or that's for my kids, or that's for those types of people. But that essence of joy and play and unleashing, it's freedom. It's
Yeah.
freedom. And to have safe spaces and places and women and around you that allow for that
Yeah.
is sacred and
Yeah.
beautiful and necessary.
Yeah. that's one of the biggest things, is just having the space. So
Absolutely.
beautiful for you for doing that. I mean, that's amazing. I actually really want to possibly join. I need a sleepaway camp.
Oh my God, Cari, I'll send you the
I
information.
would love it. Okay, so I want to end sort of like on a legacy question. If listeners, if they can hold one piece of wisdom from our conversation today, what would you want it to be?
I mean, my ethos in life is that every single thing, the hardship, the illness, the devastation, the parents you were born into, the circumstances that you're going through, everything is happening for you, not to you. And it may not feel that way, and it might feel so messy right now. That just means you're in it. But there will come a time, the days will show what the years will show what the days never could, right? There will come a time that you'll be like, oh shit, that's why that happened.
Yeah.
I get it now. I see the thread. So that's really how I live my life. And I think that if we all were able to lean into that a little bit more, that everything's happening for us, and we'll find out why eventually. Um, life can just be a little bit more easy and joyful.
That's so beautiful. Michelle, thank you so much. I have truly enjoyed our chat today, and I'm just really grateful to be connected to you and introduced to
Aw,
you. It's
I felt the
crazy.
same.
It's crazy that back in 2010, maybe if I would have seen you, I would have been like, you know what? I'm going to follow her and go get the green juice. And I am worth it. But, I had to wait for my Rodney to show up and be my
I
mirror.
get it. I waited for my Eric to finally put the food down. God comes in guys.
Yeah, I love it. But I'm happy in 2025 that I actually have connected to you. And I'm really grateful for your time. And I know this episode will resonate with so many people. So thank you.
Thank you, Cari.
And we look forward to Not Awakened.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Surviving Roots. I hope it gave you something meaningful to carry with you. Let's keep this conversation going. Find me on Instagram at cari.fund, where I'll share more from the show. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who needs it. And remember, we are the choices that we make.